All right, this marks about a year that we've been here, and this is the first real day of snow that we've had since being here. Now, what do we do on those days? December, and here we are. Weather outside is frightful. But anyway, these guys don't necessarily think that compost cage is so delightful. And the point I'm getting at here is these guys are still trying to acclimate to the whole thing as well. So they're barely coming out. They're like, okay, man, I'm hungry, but do I want to get outside and, go through all this? But they're managing, they're figuring it out. Now up this way, everything's in pretty close proximity right now. So the bees are doing their thing, which means they're staying inside, doing what bees do. And then we're going to go over here and talk about the sheep, because a lot of people are wondering what we do in through the winter is we bank our forage, and that's a future video that's going to come out later. But on the days where, let's say, there's just so much snow that they don't necessarily have access to it, then those are the very, very rare days that we feed hay. Now, the pigs, just throw some straw out there, and they will ultimately make their own little abode. They'll dig it out, they'll do whatever. You don't even have to spread it out. They'll do it all themselves. Now, the only real thing to do is to make sure the water, if you leave it out in the field, make sure the water is intact. Now, in this pile, it was relatively hot. We would have ordinarily put the water for the chickens on top of that pile, but it's so new, it hasn't yet had the chance to really heat up because we flipped all of it Sunday. This is Tuesday, and last night we had to do something about it. So we took one of the older compost piles, kind of spread it out, and William buried it up to there, and it's completely fine. It's not frozen at all, despite the fact that for hours and hours and hours, it's been below freezing. But it's working out. That's how it goes. So if we were to go down here, we'll go down here and take a real quick trip. All right, so you look at this sheep tractor that Michelle made a while back. Remember, there's a video on that. The only thing we've really done to it is add a little netting around the side, just to kind of keep the wind at check, even though these sheep are not at all going to be bothered by this cold weather. I've seen them in much worse circumstances than this, and they do just fine. But anyhow, we do provide them something of a shelter, and they're just fine. They got their winter coat. They're doing what they do. Now, the snow down here, you can't say that there's a blanket of snow, let's say 6 inches or whatever. From what I'm looking at, it's a few inches anyway. Enough to cover up some of the grass, the green grass they want. But in addition to that, of course, behind their sheep netting, in addition to that, Michelle insisted that we put down a little bit of hay for her little sheepies. They don't seem to care about it. They don't necessarily want it. And they know how to kick it out of the way, and there's just enough in there for them to get what they want. So just in case they should want it, they say, okay, there's hay back there. But right now they're saying it tastes great but less filling. They'd rather go for the green stuff. And that's exactly what we want them to do. So in those times where we do have inclement weather, this is what we do. We really, if you plan for it, we really don't have to change a whole lot about it. But in those cases where, let's say there was a foot of snow out here, yeah, we would use hay. But ordinarily, we bank it up and we just drive on with it. And also, because we knew this snow was going to be coming today, we went ahead and moved all these portable fences last night. Now, they're probably made for it and they're probably designed for it, but that monofilament line that's in here is very, very small. I mean, it's a gauge that's just practically microscopic from my eyes. So anyway, if you can, you want to try to move those fences. I don't want to take a chance of it being too brittle in this very cold weather and then we have some kind of failure. It's probably unlikely, but I'm not going to take the chance anyway. So when it was warmer last night, we normally move everything in the morning. We made sure we did this last night as a means to make sure that we're not really messing with it too much in this very, very cold weather. Now, I would almost bet that Premier One, the people who made this, have probably accounted for very cold weather and probably engineered this stuff to not have a problem. But why stress it? Anyway, folks, it's cold out here, and it's hard for me to say the words that are coming out of my mouth right now without stumbling over them. So anyway, this is what we do, and everything just works out just fine if you plan for it. So until next time, this is Billy, the Permaculture Pimp Daddy, where PIMP stands for Permaculture is my passion, because it really is. We'll see you next time.